Oh, hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to the Smallville Retrospective. We are on season 4, episode 5, titled Run. That can't be good. Hold on a minute. Where did it pop off from? Of course, it's one of the wheels that's not. This one. Left over dog hair when it was at my mom's house. I got this chair from my mom. So of course there's Cooper hair. Yeah, that's the golden retriever's Cooper hair. Scotty, we don't want to see no hairball. I know. Alright, I got that back on. Season 4, episode 5. Run. Which I do not do because I'm fat. If I run, you won't see me again because I was gay, I'll be dead. So, yeah. Or I should say, if I was gay, I'd probably die. But, yeah, I don't run. There was this one time, okay, so I had this supervisor at work that, for some reason, hated me. We never got along. I think our problem stemmed from, it was the weekend, working on a weekend, just wanted to get done and go home. And she kept on stretching things out and complaining about the littlest shit. Like, we used to clean the movie theater, used to be over here. And the teeniest, tiniest pieces of popcorn she'd flip out about. Other supervisors would be like, you don't need to get all that little teeny, you're not going to get everything. She would freak out about that. And then, I'd be all pissed off about it. And then we used to have to go do extra stuff. There's bus wash and doing garbage stuff. And she would rig it so that my name was always picked out. There was one time she said, I'm going to pick it in front of you to prove it. But she did. My name was picked out. But I didn't see the other pieces of paper. For all I know, my name was on most pieces of the paper. So one time I had enough. And I walked off. We were all done. I had my stuff. I walked. I knew I was a slow walker, so if I tried to just walk it, she'd come out and yell. So I ran all the way back here. Yeah, it's just from right over there. This is before the hotel was here. So I ran all the way here. By the time I got here, I thought I was gonna die. I was like that. Beep. Jeez. So I'm never doing that again. So I don't run. Okay. Now onto the episode. After Scotty explained why he doesn't run. Okay. The episode Run is the first introduction. Is the start of the origins. Is the first chapter in the origins of the Smallville Justice League. I put it that way because we introduce a character that doesn't really make any sense and what the continuity is supposed to be. We introduce Bart Allen, who you may know is actually Barry Allen's grandson, which means he shouldn't be existing in the same universe as Clark Kent, because that's like 2 generations away. But I guess they couldn't use Barry Allen. I don't know. They used the name though. Yeah. So, you see this kid trying to fence some stuff in Metropolis, and then Clark and Jonathan are leaving the hospital, and Jonathan's got more colorful pills for his heart condition, and then okay, here's my question. do taking so many pills help your heart? Because, like, I think if you were on, like, a bazillion medications, that's not a good sign. You're taking all that medication, something, I don't know. I don't know. I had grandparents who would have those things the week of the Monday through Sunday things, and they have all those in there, and they take, like, 30 pills each day. I had that. I had two grandparents. My great grandma on my grandma's mom, and then my grandpa, my mom's dad, who is the grandma who I mentioned, her mom, her ex-husband. So her first husband, I should say, and second, first husband, and they had a thing full of pills, and I had the Monday through thing for Sunday too, but I only took like 2 pills. Growing up, I had like the Ritalin, because I'm hyper, and then I had the other stuff for when someone fucking explodes in the hallway. No, I had other stuff that was for, like, to keep on my tension. There was another pill, but I only had 2. I didn't have 30 in there. But yeah, so I don't take medication anymore. I don't need it. Some of you are saying, yeah, right. But I'm not crazy. Jonathan almost gets hit by a truck because Clark is off going to get their truck or something. And they're going to Metropolis Sharks game because Lex came through. Hey, whatever they say they're going to do something at the beginning of an episode, that's not gonna happen. Sorry. I've learned that, but Jonathan is saved by a strange red blur, which he thinks was Clark, but it wasn't Clark, it was someone else. Who is it? It's Bart, we find out. But it's also his wallet has been stolen. I want to talk about, before we get into it, there's 3 different Lana scenes, actually, but these are the 2 that are connected. Jason asks about her tattoo in one scene at the beginning of the episode, and then that's completely forgotten until the end. And when this end scene comes in, when she shows him the Kawachi Caves, I'm like, why is this here? And then I realized, oh yeah, because they had that one little scene where he asked about the tattoo. So now, 45 minutes later, after we've already kind of forgot about that scene, because the episode is spent on the trio of Clark, Lex, and Bart, that we kind of just, forget about it, and so basically she tells him about what happened when she did the rubbing, and that sounded wrong, but, rub the picture or whatever, and then compared the tattoo to the sign and that's why she came back, is that. Even though we've never seen that symbol on the wall before now, and when she saw it in episode 2, she still, or 2 or 3, whatever it was, she seemed surprised to see it on the wall. I don't know. It's confusing. And then there's one other scene in the middle of the episode or so, because Martha's too busy with her work to pay attention to Jonathan, workaholic woman. And Lana basically lays it out for her, like, hey, you should make time for him, like, all that. And, yeah. And I want to say something here. There's a scene towards the end of the episode where Martha comes home, is talking to Jonathan, and I just want to point out that Jonathan and Martha's relationship is the most believable relationship in the entire series. Like, completely. Yes, you get the old Clark and Lois. Sure. But that's unnecessary because it's supposed to be a prequel to all that. But they don't listen. They don't do it like they said they were going to. Alright? It's the most believable relationship. It's the most genuine. And Annette O'Toole and John Schneider have great chemistry together. They're great. So, Bart. So, Clark tracks down his dad's credit card, convinces his dad not to call it in, so he's able to have Chloe track it. Off screen, by the way. We don't see Chloe track it. We do see Chloe in the episode, but not what he said we were going to see. And, he tracks him to a hotel room where he finds Bart's aliases. Now, tell me if these sound familiar. Jay Garrick, Barry Allen, Wally West. Why do those sound familiar to me? And then he says his name is Bart. Yeah, they portray Bart as this kid who is a criminal, I guess. If he was a meteor freak, I guess it would work, but this, I don't know. This character goes from being like criminal tendencies with a little bit of wascally wabbit in there to outright villain by the end, almost. For no reason, really. Like, it's really like a split second type situation. So he chases after Bart when Bart runs away. And he gets away, but then apparently he makes it to Clark's house. He somehow knows where Clark lives. That's a continuity issue. Sir, I guess he could figure, look at, it's Jonathan Kent. Now I gotta figure out where. I guess the address was probably on his ID card, wasn't it? His license. I guess. I can believe that. Okay? I believe that. And so he sort of starts, taking him around town. I guess they go to Florida. And then he hits on Chloe. Bart does. And then Clark is summoned to Lex's mansion, where Lex shows him this manuscript that he got. And it has Kryptonian letters on the outside that tell Clark to look deeper. So he uses X-ray vision. That, by the way, now I know they say that Jor-El came to Earth in the 60s. Sure. But it's been made very clear through many Superman projects that they don't know they have these powers till they get under the yellow sun. Because they live under a place with red sun where there are no powers. Right? Now, the 1970s Superman movies don't portray this, but Zack Snyder's movies do. As, when Superman breaks Zod's mask thing, the powers start to work. So, I don't know. That understand, how would he know that they have X-ray vision? How would then, I don't. These are like ancient Kryptonians. And anyway, it shows a map that will be important in a later episode, not here. No, they're slowly doing this. By the way, the whole thing with the gems was in like the first episode, and then the next one was about finding Chloe, and the next two were two filler Freak of the Week episodes. And now, this is technically a Freak of the Week. He's not a meteor freak, but there is some building on this overarching story. Finally, the 5th episode. I understand you gotta have, other episodes in there, and that's why sometimes the current episode formats of 8 to 10 episodes might work better because you could take out a lot of the filler. Unless you're Doctor Who and want to throw out random episodes like 73 Yards. Now, Doctor Who itself is a show where we can do anything, go anywhere, randomness. But let's say they did that 8 to 10, maybe 8 episodes, right? For Series 6. They have to cut out a lot of filler episodes, like the horror episode with the little boy. Or the episode where Amy, Rory, and the Doctor get stuck in that hotel. Take those out. somebody would say, let's kill Hitler. And I'm like, no, that's kind of an important episode because of the reveal in that episode. By the way, that's the name of the episode. I don't actually want to go kill. He's already dead. But, you know, I'm just saying, there's some episodes you could take out. Fear Her is a great example of an episode. Just get rid of it. You know? Anyway, back to this show. So, immediately, Bart shows up again, somehow knowing where Clark went. The only thing I can think of is that he asked Lana, and she said, or not Lana, but Martha? Why would Martha say? I don't know. Martha. I don't know. But he somehow knew that Clark was... Again, there's a lot of jumps in logic, and they only try to explain one. They explain one of these instances in this episode. The other two are not explained. Of course, you can suss it with the first one where he had his ID, so yeah. But here, how did he know? And then they get out of there, and you know Clark tries to give him an MP3 player, which you know, and he's like, you gotta stop stealing stuff. Clark's trying to teach him to be a better person, you know, and then he runs off. And then Clark decides to go sneak a peek again at this thing. And Bart comes in and steals it, causing an alarm to go off. This is the second time that Lex has caught Clark in a compromising position and barely questions it. Like, in the first time when he finds Clark with those two dead security guards, he doesn't question. Like, and now, there's a little bit of questioning, but not really. Like, Lex says, I have ways of tracking it down. And he does. He finds Hannison, the guy that was the fence at the beginning. Of course, Bart only goes to him. So, yeah, and immediately he gives the thing to, you know, he's like, hey, you know, takes it and, you know, gives it to Lex. And, but then the guy decides, you know what? No, I want to turn on Lex. So Lex is like, well, I call the cops. Because he's a good guy, apparently. And so the guy, Lex, first of all, does some karate moves to this guy, to the security guard guy. But Hannison knocks him out. And then Clark shows up, because of course this is where it is. And you're thinking, no, how the hell did he know? But this is the one that's explained. Okay? It's explained later to Bart that he acted like he wanted to fence the MP3 player and to let him to Hannison. So, yeah, that explains it. That's the only one they explained in this episode, by the way. That one. But this is where it goes from Clark came to save the day to why are we trying to... Oh, because we got an extra 5 minutes we need to run out. Okay. Because after coming in and saving the day, Bart's basically like, fuck you, Clark, and opens up the meteor rock, causing him to fall down. And he steals the thing and says, you know, I'm going to take off. And I'm going to go find someone else to sell this. But then Clark has this big speech where he talks to him, you know, I'm going to die. You're not that bad. You won't let someone die. And so he shuts the thing and then runs off with it. Then we have that conversation. By the way, the very next scene is, like, weird because Jonathan's way up on the windmill thing and climbs down. And like, what was he doing up there? And that's when we have the conversation with Clark. And then he talks to Martha. And then he talks to Bart. We have that little conversation. No, wait, there's a scene with Lex in there somewhere too, because he goes to see Lex, and Lex, you know, say that he got it back. It was miraculously on his desk, And I wanna call attention to this because like whoever stole it must have gave it back. And Clark says he must have had a change of heart. And he goes, and Clark says, I guess he did. I guess he did. And if you look at Michael Rosenbaum's acting here, he's like he doesn't say it, but his eyes were like, I never said it was he. And he never calls it out either. And then he's like, I had the best people examine this. You know what they found? And you know what they told me? That I paid too much. Of course, he's lying through his teeth because after Clark leaves, there's like a UV light thing that shows the map. Then we get the scene with Clark and Bart. A little out of order. Well, that scene with Lana and Jason is in there too. So I think it goes that's in there somewhere. But we have a conversation with Bart, with kind of like an apologize thing, and then they run off to the song Feels Like Today by the Rascal Flatts. And they're running, and we don't see Bart again for 2 more seasons. Yeah. But, yeah, this was a decent episode. I think it's good. The Lana stuff, if you took out the Lana stuff and put another episode, you wouldn't miss it. I don't. You know, like I said, though, they had that one scene at the beginning, and then when they show up at the end, you're sitting there going, wait, why is this here? And then you realize, oh, wait, there was that scene at the beginning of the episode that is not brought up again, and we get one other scene with Lana that has nothing to do with this. It's confusing. It's confusing, but yeah. Also, Chloe's been turned into Pete, where she's just there and doesn't do anything. Despite the fact that Clark says he's going to have her do something, but she does it off screen, so we never see her do it. And her only contributing scene is flirting with Bart. So yeah. But yeah, it's a decent episode. I think it's one of the better ones. It introduces a character, if not the wrong character. Well, I don't know why they couldn't use Barry Allen. I don't know. But it just doesn't make sense that it's Bart because Bart is Barry's grandson, not there when Superman is around. Although I think Superman would still be around. He'd just be kind of older, but still. There is one scene, I think, that calls, one little bit of dialogue that calls back to Bart being a time traveler, though, is when Chloe asks him about him, he's just like, well, I'm a time traveler. Traveled all the way back to the time to say that 30 years from now, we're still in love. You know, like, that whole thing. So it's like a nod to Bart from the comics, but you know that that's just a line. He's not really a time traveler. But that would have made a lot of sense. But they wouldn't do that here. That feels like something they would do in the later seasons, like season 8 or 9. Have him show up. I am from the future. Legally split, don't have a fit. You know? Which is a line he has in the next appearance. But yeah, legally split, don't have a fit. You know, I'm from the future. You know. And I think his whole tendency of doing things for him first, you know, diving head first and stuff, and not thinking about it as an impulse sort of thing. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on this episode? No comments, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.